A very good morning to you all. I am Athira Nagarajan. With the guidance of my supervisor, Dr. Urana Sid, the title of the study that I'm going to present today, that is Exploring the Relationship Between Fun Games and Children's English Skill Improvement in Elementary Schools in Oman. This study focuses on how educational games can be integrated into English language teaching to enhance speaking skills among young learners in Oman. Let me walk you through the flow of this presentation. Firstly, I'll give a brief introduction and highlight a problem statement. Then we will cover the objectives, literature review, and research methodology. Next, I will present the result, followed by discussion, implication, and finally, the conclusion. Introduction. In today's globalized world, English proficiency is vital for academic success and career readiness. However, in Oman, traditional method of teaching English often lead to poor engagement and low speaking confidence among students. My study proposes game-based learning as a student-centered solution that not only motivates learners but also reduces the anxiety often associated with speaking a second language. Game offers a safe and collaborative environment for children to practice English naturally. Despite efforts to promote English, students in Omani school still struggles with communication. Most lessons are teacher-centered, focusing on role learning and grammar, which neglects oral fluency and real-life communications. Furthermore, research in Oman research in Oman, specifically exploring games in English language is still limited. The study aims to address that gap, measuring the real effects of fun games on English speaking skills. In order to find the answers to the questions that the research aims to the three main objectives. Firstly, to assess whether game-based learning improved speaking skills. Secondly, to understand students' perceptions on learning English through games. And lastly, to examine how games impact students' confidence and participation in classroom conversations. Post studies like Al-Alami 2020, Al-Jabari 2019 affirms that games can boost vocabulary and motivation. However, they often overlook relatability and most failure to measure long-term impact or classroom dynamics. The study builds on these findings by integrating both quantitative and qualitative method and focusing particularly on the Omani context. I used a qualified experiment method, which is designed with mixed methods. 20 students from grade 3 and grade 5 were selected. 10 were in the experimental group, which was of game-based, and the other 10 in the control group, which was in the traditional method. The intervention lasted for 12 weeks. The experiments that I have used was CEFR aligned, pre and post test, classroom observation checklist, students, parents, teacher feedback form. Games used varied from role plays and Simon Says to vocabulary, puzzled, and story sequencing. The results were promising. Vocabulary improved by 3.8 points, speaking by 2.7 points, grammar by 2.9, and reading by 2.4 points. All gains were statistically significant. 87% of the students were more engaged. 80% of students said learning was more enjoyable with games. 73% felt more comfortable speaking English. Teachers' feedback confirmed higher in motivation and lower anxiety, although they did mention reading better time management and strategies to ensure equal participations. The data confirms that many teachers observe informally games make learning enjoyable and reduces the fear of speaking. This aligns with Kashmir's affective filter hypothesis which says anxiety blocks learning. It also supports constructive learning theory, emphasizing learning through experience and interactions. Vocabulary and speaking saw the highest gain, likely because the game used were designed for verbal engagement. Finally, what are the conclusions of the study? Game-based learning is not just for fun. It boosts vocabulary, improves speaking skills, and builds confidence. It should be considered a valid instructional strategy in Omanese English classrooms. With that, I conclude my presentation. Now it is the time for us to question and answer. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good day. Thank you.